Escape to the Metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew Rizzle show. Yeah. Escape to the Metaverse. Better act like you know. Yeah. You are now tuned into the Matthew Rizzle show. Yeah. Escape to the Metaverse. Better act like you know. You are now tuned into the Matthew Rizzle show. Yeah. Escape to the Metaverse. Better act like you know. You are now tuned into the Matthew Rizzle show. Yeah.
Hey everyone, before we begin this week's episode of the Matthew and Rizzle Show, just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Proof of Beauty. Proof of Beauty is an experimental digital experience studio. The blockchain is their canvas and the tokens are their brush. You can learn more about Proof of Beauty by checking out pob.studio. You can follow them on Twitter as well at PRRF Beauty. That's PRRF Beauty on Twitter and pob.studio on their homepage to learn more about their projects like Hash, London, and Publico. Thank you and enjoy the show.
Okay, Sandy the Meows, welcome to the Matthew and Rizzle Show.
Thank you so much, Matt and Rizzle. It's been a while.
It's been a while, but like in crypto time, it's been a while, maybe a couple years, but in real people time, I think like a couple weeks. I don't know, maybe less than that. Super excited to have you on the show, Sandy. Really, really eager to dig into your past, present, your future, all that good stuff, talking about taking a break from crypto, what you're working on, what has you most interested now that you're back in the space, quote unquote, like full time. But before we dive into all that good stuff, I'm really curious if you could kind of give our listeners like one or two people that are unfamiliar with you, a little bit of a potted history of yourself, your background, what you were doing before you found crypto, and what you've been doing in the space since.
Once again, my name is Sandy Meows, and I started back in 2018 collecting crypto kitties, to no surprise. And I used to be a flight attendant before I got into crypto. I just knew that I wanted to get into something cool. And crypto kitties was it for me. With that, I started to find communities that like to talk about NFTs, and I found you guys. And I also found, at the time, I also found Well Shark and his community, and I was just vibing, and all of a sudden, Rizzle on a tweet asked if anybody was available to help with the WIP. And I'm like, yes. And that's it. I started working with the WIP with you guys. And then with that, I also started working with Token Smart and the events. And now we're here. It's become this like official thing. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it has.
It's just so crazy to me how like, we were just hanging out and then all of a sudden this became my job and that's it.
Yeah. Seriously, I feel like I can identify with that. I feel like a lot of people in this like past hype cycle got sort of like swept up in that, and it hasn't been a long time, but it like has been a long time. I'm like, back when that, that tweet happened and we like pulled you on board of the WIP, like it was so early on in like WIP days, and we were still like just trying to get it off the ground. And like to think that we've like, collectively been doing this for, years now. And it's like, we got a pretty like well-oiled machine of like people who genuinely enjoy like doing this thing together, like week in and week out. And it's so crazy to think back on those like early days, which are sort of starting to feel like we're getting back to them when like, the space was like more empty and there was like a lot less money around, and we were just sort of like doing things. So Sandy, you sort of like made your re-entrance to the WIP this past week, and it felt like a billion years had gone by. And I was saying to Matt, like before this podcast, we were talking yesterday, I was like, dude, Sandy's energy was like so missed from the WIP, and like for a while, you got used to like, just doing our thing, and like people take breaks and that's fine and everything. But I'm like, dude, as soon as like you came back, it was like a fucking breath of fresh air, like, breathed right into the WIP, and it's been going well, like, in your absence too. So it's not like, we were like bumbling around without you, but dude, you add so much to our community and what we do. It just felt so right. So that saying all that to say, Sandy, like we haven't even like really talked about this, and without like prying like too much into your personal life, like you decided to just sort of take some time off and reemerge, and would just sort of love to hear how this whole thing happened on your end, and like what your thought process was, both on like, why to step away and also like why to come back.
Yeah. So, okay. First of all, coming back to the WIP was like coming back home, and just everybody being so welcome. And I just felt like life was just coming right back into me. So it was just such a warm welcome. And I was so excited to be there with my crew, with my people. So that was a blast. And to hear of everything that you guys were doing, the whole intro songs, and my favorite one, by the way, is Paradox when we have to take a picture and everything. But yes, there was a time it was like, I started feeling like isolation, and I was avoiding all gatherings. I started to get in this like depressive state of losing interest in the things that I used to enjoy, and just super preoccupied with not so nice thoughts, and also put into like unhealthy lifestyle changes, like binging at night because you're working from the morning till like, till like night, just in front of a computer, and you're sleep deprived and also sleeping all day at the same time, just because you always want to stay connected. And, what's the next PFP that could bring in money, or what's the next new thing? What's everybody talking about? You just get sucked into this energy of like, okay, I always have to be on. I always have to be just like on top of things and making sure that I know things. And on top of that is just filling this plate with things that you can't even consume because it's just too much. And then there was paranoia. There was like mistrust of others and their intentions. A lot of just like panic attacks that I was having prior to coming back. It was a space that it was so saturated, everything and everyone coming to you. And I just needed to disconnect. I needed to just like, I can't do this. Like, I just can't, like physically and mentally, I just couldn't anymore. So I disconnected.
I think it was such a brave and bold choice, to be honest. You see on Twitter, even today, some prominent figures talking about how they're feeling super burnt out. Like maybe the market downturn is playing into that. Maybe it's just like the culmination of like years of kind of like a bull market and things like you're saying, always happening, always around, always having to pay attention to. That's really weighing on people. And they talk about all that fatigue, mental, physical, otherwise. But the option to kind of disconnect, to unplug, take a break for a period of time, whether you want to call that like a sabbatical or like a proper vacation, whatever, like everyone has that ability, but it seems that few people actually take advantage of their ability to take those breaks. And you did. So number one, just like kudos to you. And on top of that, you came back, which I think highlights like the whole promise of this space. If you play your cards right, where you can have fun, you should be having fun. You can do things that are like work, that generate maybe an income like a regular work income or close to it at least, but without the kind of like obligations of, okay, got to sit in an office 9 to 5 every single day, even if I'm feeling bad. Like, no, you can take a break, and then you come back to work when you're ready, or you come back to play and work when you're ready. And you're kind of like the living embodiment of that. So I just, again, like, standing ovation for you and your choice to do that. I think, and I hope other people are inspired to do the same thing and feel confident that when they come back, their friends, their family, the community will still be there for them. Because if it's a real community, it's a real family, they for sure will be there for them. But putting a pin in all of that, I kind of wanted to go back in your history before you took that break, because you were doing a ton of heavy lifting, in particular the WIP and the Token Smart communities, community building and managing the communities and the events and all of that. I'm just wondering if like you can kind of talk about some of the highlights of that period, at least, what you enjoyed about that, before we kind of like go into another direction in the conversation.
Oh man, like before that, things that I enjoyed was just like spending time and just doing what I felt was bringing joy to my life. So the events, just having fun. I think period. It was just having fun. Mm-hmm. If I was having fun, it was just my passion, and I just had the energy to do it. And everything that I did, I wholeheartedly did it with so much passion and so much love. And I did it because I wanted to, but it just became a point where it's like, okay, I'm not enjoying this anymore. Being, the WIP has always had my heart. And then with Token Smart, all of the shows that we have on a weekly basis bring such value, such new information. And just, I think like some of the highlights of that mm-hmm. was having the right information to do like some right moves. And even being in this bear market, I feel that I'm in a better place even than last year.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything that you would do different? Like looking back on like the past year and a half, like in terms of like the community building and event planning and scheduling and all that stuff, like the stuff more closely associated with like quote unquote, like your professional gig in the space. What is there anything that you would do different now?
Yes, I would have asked for help a lot sooner.
Yeah.
I would have, I had this mentality of like equating the workload that I do with my value.
Mm.
And I would have just asked for help. It was so easy to just ask for help. And there's so many people that would have like loved to, to pick up that too. So I think I would have just asked for help a lot sooner, instead of juggling. I'm not an octopus, I just have two hands. I'm just human. So I wish I would have just asked for help. I think that's the only thing. I would have also gone outside more and taken walks and just gotten out, like even like a morning walk and then come back. I think that's what I would have changed. Yeah.
Touching grass.
Yeah.
In this bear market, like the first early meme that I'm kind of like vibing with is the touching grass meme. I love that. Like if we take anything away from like this negative downturn is, I hope more people touch grass. Super important.
It is. And it's grounding. It's taking you back to like, hey, like, it's good. And it's really good for your body too, because when you take walks, when you touch grass, it, I believe it like creates new just like germs inside of you and help your gut and just help you live better.
Dude, I agree. Having a dog forces me to like take a walk daily, and I feel like we both benefit from that, dog and me. So Sandy, you were gone long enough that I feel like you could have just walked away off into the distance and like, never come back at this point. And it was, it was sort of past the point where people were like, is Sandy coming back? Is Sandy coming back? Is Sandy coming back? And then it was sort of like, well, maybe Sandy's just not going to necessarily come back, or like maybe in like, who knows, like what capacity or whatever. And And honestly, like I gotta echo what Matt is saying. I would have like a really, really hard time like doing what you did just because I have like a FOMO addiction and like a lot of us, honestly, like it's a serious like thing. And so like you came back at like a really like I'm interested in like why you came back, you know, because I feel like a lot of people when they get super overwhelmed with something like this, it's just time to cut ties and like do something different and go a different direction. But you sort of decided to like walk back into the fray a little bit. And also like at a point in time where like the market and the ecosystem is just getting gutted. So I imagine you're not like, you know, coming back here, like thinking you can make a quick buck or something like that. So I, you know, really interested to hear like your thought process and why like, now was the right time to come back in like whatever capacity you've decided to come back and why even come back.
Right. Like, let me just say that there was so much shame and embarrassment with just taking a break. It was like, and shame and embarrassment because I didn't vocalize like, yo, like I need a mental break. And I'll be back. I literally was just like, okay, like, I can't, like this day, bye. Like I just couldn't anymore. So there was a lot of shame and embarrassment. And there's still like, I feel like I still need to ask for like forgiveness for like leaving and for disconnecting from a lot of like networks that I'm a part of. But even taking that break, the first day, the first week, the second week, it was so hard to even just like be okay with sleeping in. Like I felt so bad sleeping in and resting. I felt weird just like not doing anything. And I had to get professional help. I didn't understand why like I just couldn't rest and relax when that's all I wanted to do. And coming back when like the market is not the best, I didn't even see it like that. I'm just coming back to like my people and to the things that I enjoy. And I think it was a reflection within those 3 months of like, okay, well, why did I even join this community? Like, why? Because I was having fun and I was doing the things that I love. You know, at some point we were doing this without even getting paid at all. So I'm like, okay, let me reflect on what I do like, what I don't like, and let me make those modifications. And, it's still taking some time to not say yes to everything and setting those boundaries. But I think I feel like I have like that voice to say like, no, it's okay. And not only just say no, I noticed that like, I always have to have like a reason, like, oh no, because you know, this, or that. Like, it's like, no means no. And that's it. I shouldn't be like explaining myself further, but, it was just like reflecting of what I do like and what I want to do and what is fun for me. And that's why I came back, because this is something that's fun for me to do, regardless if the market is down or up. It's a fun place to be where I feel good.
Appreciate you saying yes to this, especially when you're trying to like, exercise, self-restraint and everything. I was like, Matt and I were like, Sandy's back, get her.
Oh my gosh, I almost like spit my water.
Yeah. Having fun. It's the whole that's what keeps me like energized. It's just like biasing and making sure that everything I'm doing, it's fun, spiritually nourishing for me. So like now that you're back, and thank God you're back at the WIP, and it's last week was, oh my God, hearing you in the pre-WIP, I was like, oh my, Sandy is back.
Yeah.
Like, your voice was so energized, like you're so spiritual and soulful. I'm like, yes, this is what we needed. And it was really obvious, like you're grooving, you're vibing in your zone. But like kind of looking forward, what are you most excited about? I think this is like a question everyone's trying to ask themselves and figure out. as the market kind of like turns quote unquote more bearish. But there's still so much going on. And what has you most excited? What are you most looking forward to doing and having fun with in the metaverse?
I'm like excited about everything and about nothing at all. So I'm in this place where it's a blank slate and I'm welcoming things that are just good for me and that feel good to me. I think that's like the most important, just like making sure that they feel good to me. If it feels like slimy or I just have like a bad feeling, I'm just like, and also not being afraid of like, not being afraid of like just doing anything. While I was gone, I was working on some digital art, and I was working with like ideas, but to be honest, like I wish I could come back and be like, oh yeah, I was working on all these like NFT things, but I was working on absolutely nothing, like nothing. I was enjoying my time in Solvang and Monterey, California, and I was just being present. So I think I'm just excited about being present, and it's a blank slate.
Yeah. And then with the WIP specifically, you're talking, it's funny because when you, around like the beginning of the New Year's, when you sort of like pieced out, like first couple weeks there. And that's when the WIP was in flux too. Like we jumped around to a different Discord after token smart before lending at meme, where we are today. And over the course of like the past couple of months, like we've added so much production value, like even like small little funny things, like the intro transition songs, things like that. It's turned the show into like something so much more than it has been. And like from your perspective, like coming, of course, like I don't want you to feel slimy or anything like that, obviously.
No, not at all. About the WIP? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but like no, like that kind of like increased like doing new things and having that sort of infinite design space for everyone in the WIP crew to kind of leave their mark and like do funky, fun things. No pressure if there's no ideas here, but I'm curious, like, well, what do you want to add to the show?
Okay, well, before you guys did all these intro songs, you could even like go ask Carolina, and I was telling her like, hey, like I want to do like the song with Foxy Yoga, you and me, and
yes,
and at
need
first
like
I was like
a Power WIP girl theme song.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, like a theme song, and I was like, yeah, we could do something like, hey, it's Sandy, it's Foxy, it's Carolina, duh. Like
Paradox has got like some weird like people he's in contact with that'll make like a really janky version of this for us. He's the mastermind behind all of these terrible things.
This excites me. Like
yes.
This like yes, like the more cheesier, the more funky, like please bring it. Like yes.
It's gotta happen.
So I'm looking forward to that actually. And sometimes Carolina and I were just like, I'm just telling her, oh, okay, what if we do this? What if the song is like in this theme, or like, what if it's this or that? So it's also nice to have like a sister in the community because, I just like jump off ideas and she's here physically. So yeah.
So, and no pressure if the answer is nothing, but like, so like I appreciate and like love that, the WIP is so fun for you. And one of the things you wanted to come back to within the space. I mean, I think we all sort of like share that same sentiment. Obviously the WIP is like only like a limited amount of time per week. Like, are there other things that you're similarly like excited to either become more involved with or like get back into, or are you just sort of like, taking one day at a time or like easing your way back into things? And like, no right answers, just curious, like where your head is at.
I'm definitely easing in like slowly into everything. One of my major things is like getting like my health right. And I want to incorporate my health into just like the NFT space. I've always been wanting to do like this Fitbit challenge with other people of like, how many steps can you do? And of course, people could cheat, whatever, but it's still movement that you're doing with your body. So I think what I want to encourage people is just to go outside, take some steps. Maybe there's like a challenge out there. I don't know how to like connect it all yet, but I definitely want something where it's just, you know, your health is your priority. And this is, you know, an NFT is fun. And I just want to incorporate those stuff into something. I don't know what it is, but I think like maybe something will flourish off of that idea. So
yeah, awesome. I feel like this is sort of how like Web3 works. If you hang around long enough and tell enough people your idea, you eventually bump into someone that's like, I can make that happen.
The Rizzle wallet. Yeah.
You know, awesome. I mean, it's cool. Again, echoing what Matt said, I'm like, yeah, I could take a page out of your book, and I think a lot of people can. You know, even just taking some steps back, if it's not like a full scale sabbatical or whatever, and just, you know, sort of reevaluating what's on your plate. I love the analogy, honestly, that you had in the beginning. Something about like putting more on your plate than you can possibly consume, or something. I feel like so many people, like, you know, can identify with that. So yeah, I just echoing what Matt said again, I feel like this is like a message that like so many people need to hear, especially like in this market and everything where it takes, you know, you had sort of like a different thing weighing on you that was like taking your toll on you. But like, you know, I've been around in crypto for a long time and remember getting wrecked like in early days. And, you know, now I feel like I'm sort of immune to it all, but like this shit like weighs on you. And you're like, you know, even if you're feeling comfortable long-term, you're like, yo, this is like a 90% like, you know, punch to the financial gut I just took. And so sometimes even then just like, you know, walking away and like taking a break from it all is, you know, makes all the difference in the world of just sort of keeping your head on your shoulders. So Sandy, are you working with NFT 42 anymore? Is that like over and done with? Is this like a weird intrusive question?
I'm still I'm still with them. You know, things happened and we're you know, like you said, it was like a lot of personal things. It was a combination of a bunch of things happening where a lot was in my plate and I was feeling very undervalued. And, you know, I put my foot down and it's like, I just put my foot down, like, hey, like, if I'm going to be here, I'm going to be doing fun stuff.
Yeah, right on.
So, yeah.
Good for you. That's what's up.
And sort of like on that vein, or in that vein, heading forward for the folks in the Token Smart community then, and NFT 42 broadly, like what fun things are you going to be focusing on?
I love anything connected with music. So every time I'm like at Cypher, sometimes like I'll even like jump in, Eclectic Method, like when he does like his Friday sets, those are fun. I don't know, like, you know, whatever is vibing, but I really love music.
Awesome. Yo, Sandy, you know, we always like sort of do this intrusive shakedown. If that question wasn't intrusive enough, we're gonna like shake down your wallet here.
We're working on boundaries. This is the perfect way to do it. You know, let's go.
While you were, I like in my head, I like to think like, you know, you retreated to like the top of a mountain for like 3 months and like sat there cross-legged and like, you know, but while you were doing that, did you like pick up your phone and like collect any random NFTs or anything, or like anything you've been just sort of checking out just for fun?
Yeah. Okay. So when I went to Monterey, we were only supposed to be there for like maybe like a day or two, but I basically like screwed like the transmission of my boyfriend's car. And we ended up staying for a month. And I only had my phone and my iPad. And there was a lot of things going on. I think I missed on the Moonbirds. I really wanted to get some of those. But I knew that you were working on on-chain chains. And so I was making sure that I did not miss that.
Yo, appreciate that. I
dude.
obviously saw that.
And oh my gosh. Okay, so I minted 20 of them. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get a fire hat or a pepper. I need to get like a fire hat or pepper. And I didn't. And I like got like pretty cool ones, like a watermelon and like all these other cool like 3D glasses ones. And I was just like so salty, Rizzle. I was like, why did you not give me a pepper or fire, man?
Did you buy you had the mustache pepper, right? Did you buy that one?
No, I bought that one. I ended up buying them off secondary market because I still wanted them. I'm like, I still want them, so I'm gonna go get them. And dude, I did not know that story that was the prototype for the t-shirt that I also ended up buying a t-shirt.
Right? It's so random.
That is super random. Yeah. So I bought that while I was gone. I bought an MFer while I was gone. Let me look at my wallet right now. I'm a really big fan of Queen Tam. She's an artist from Thailand, so she'll do a lot of the work that I really relate to. It's like she's going through the same things that I am too. I picked up some crypto covens. I bought some chain faces again. I think like Nate Alex is working on something, so I just like picked those up. I got some Penelope Grandmas, the duplicator, my noodles went to space too. I got a Murakami flower, which I'm so salty because I bought it at like 5.89 and now it's like, you know how it is. I also got another deed land, super salty on that one too. Let's see what else I got.
You have pretty good internet connection on top of your mountain there.
Okay, well, the thing is, like, we ended up being there for like a month, and I was like, just basically like shitting bricks because I was like, oh fuck, like this is a Mercedes, and it's like a new car, and it's the good thing it was being leased, and literally like. He had like a month left of like the warranty left. And so by, the greatness of the universe and God, like it was all under warranty. So we paid $0 and the car got fixed and we were able to spend like a whole month there. I loved it. If you've never been, please go. It's beautiful, like sea cliffs and beaches, clear, beautiful water. And I took a lot of walks. I took a lot of walks. I wish I could live there. It's one of my favorite cities. It was my first time visiting. So, the internet was shitty. And then when I came back, that's when I started going ape on like a bunch of other stuff. And yeah.
Love it. Love that. Yeah. I haven't been to Monterey. I got to check that out. Sounds absolutely amazing. And before we wrap up, just again, like the one or two folks that aren't exactly sure where to find you, let them know your Twitter handles, which Discords you'd be hanging out in. And of course, the WIP tomorrow, you'll be back in full force, but let the folks know where to follow you, where they can interact with you.
Yeah, you could follow me at Sandy Meows on Twitter, and the O is a 0 on that one. And you can find me in Token Smart Meme. You can find me in a bunch of other ones. My Discord Nitro lets me add like 100 plus. So there's a bunch of them that I belong to. So just follow me there and meow, I guess.
Sandy's one of these legendary Metaverse people. You just say Sandy Meows enough and someone will find her or bring you to her. So she's out there.
Thanks, Rizzle.
Yo, Sandy, it was great to have you, for real. And awesome to have you back in the swing of things. Obviously, take whatever time you need to do whatever you need to, but it's so nice to have you back, for real.
Thank you. One last thing is that I do want to say, like, if anybody like in Token Smart or anywhere, please, if you need a break, like, don't even feel bad, don't feel guilty, don't be ashamed. Same goes for you, like, Rizzle and Matthew, like, please take your time. I don't know how you guys do it. You guys are my heroes. And I look up to you guys. So
we need like a good crypto mom like you telling us to take some time off periodically, honestly.
Yeah. And it's gonna feel weird, but just disconnect. It feels good. It's good. Touch that grass.
Touch that grass, y'all. Well, Sandy, it was an absolute pleasure having you on the show finally. It's so monumentally just like soul satisfying and nourishing, and like, yeah, it makes me so happy that you're back in the fold with the WIP crew, back in the ether with all of us. So I hope you keep touching grass and having fun and keep doing your thing in the metaverse.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. Meow.
Thanks. Meow.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this week's episode. Just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Proof of Beauty. Proof of Beauty is an experimental digital experience studio. The blockchain is their canvas and the tokens are their brush. You can learn more about Proof of Beauty by checking out pob.studio. You can follow them on Twitter as well at PRRF Beauty. That's PRRF Beauty on Twitter, and pob.studio on their homepage to learn more about their projects like Hash, London, and Publico. Thank you, and see you in the next episode.